podcast. Your host, Dr. Kelly Ray, is a renowned mindset coach and counselor, often referred to as the inner critic tamer. With a passion for guiding individuals through life's challenges, she specializes in personal growth and emotional healing. In each episode, Dr. Kelly Ray shares invaluable insights, practical strategies, and relatable stories designed to inspire you to take that first step toward positive change. So, grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and get ready to dive deep into meaningful conversations that empower you on your journey. Let's welcome Dr. Kelly Ray.
Hey there, welcome back to the Beginning of the Week podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Kelly Ray, and as always, I am so grateful you're here spending some time with me today. I have a question for you. Have you ever finally gotten something you've wanted for years and then felt uncomfortable when it arrived? Maybe it was free time. Maybe it was fewer responsibilities. Maybe it was a quiet house. Maybe it was a weekend with no plans. Maybe it was peace. For years, I thought I wanted peace. Less stress, less rushing, less pressure, less feeling like I was carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. And then life began to change. Not overnight, but little by little. I created more boundaries. I became more intentional about who I spent time with and how I spent my energy. I stopped feeling like I had to say yes to everything. I started creating a life that had more breathing room. And do you know what surprised me? When peace finally started showing up, sometimes it made me uncomfortable. Not because peace was the problem, but because silence got loud. So, wherever you are in the world, grab your coffee, settle in, and let's talk about this one. I used to think peace and quiet were the same thing. Now I don't think it's true. Because peace isn't the absence of noise. It's what remains when the external noise settles down. And that's where things can get really interesting. Because when life is busy, there's not much room to hear what's happening inside of us. We're working, taking care of people, paying bills, running errands, meeting deadlines, solving problems, managing responsibilities. We're moving so fast that we don't always notice what's happening underneath. Then one day things get quiet. And suddenly the voices you've been outrunning catch up. The inner critic, the guilt, the shame, the regret, the loneliness, the fear, the not enoughness, the people pleaser, the protector. The parts of us that have been patiently waiting for an opportunity to speak. I used to think peace was making me uncomfortable. What I realized is that peace wasn't creating the discomfort. Peace was revealing. And this is something I spend a lot of time helping clients understand. Most people assume that when discomfort shows up, something has gone wrong. But often, discomfort isn't the problem. Discomfort is the information. It's your nervous system trying to tell you something. It's old survival pattern trying to get your attention. It's a part of you communicating in the only language it knows. The challenge is that most of us were never taught how to translate that language. So instead of listening, we judge. We fight it, we resist it, we try to push it away. And sometimes the very thing we're trying to get rid of is actually trying to help us understand ourselves more deeply. Recently, I've noticed something showing up in a very interesting way. Nearly every night I talk to my dad on the phone. It was something I started doing right after my mom passed in 2008. He's in a different season in his life than I am. He's retired. He has some vision challenges that have changed some things for him, such as not being able to drive anymore. And like many people going through a major life transition, he's learning how to navigate it at a slower pace. And for a man who's been up since the crack of dawn, being productive all day until sundown, being able to go wherever and whenever he wanted, has now become a challenge. Sometimes during our conversations, he'll tell me, "My day was kind of boring. Not much happened today." Now, what's interesting is that what he describes doesn't actually sound very boring to me. He volunteers a couple of days a week at a senior center. He spends time with friends. He plays cornhole with a group of other retired guys. And can I say it's gotten quasi-serious over the years? I mean, now they have matching shirts, they have a trophy they pass around every week, and they're all in it to win it. He visits with family, goes on vacation, takes day trips to places. He stays active, walks every morning, has a gym at his house that he works out every afternoon. He's Johnny on the spot when it comes to mowing his 2.5-acre property every week. His property looks like the most amazing park ever. It's incredible. Yet sometimes he still describes the day as boring, uneventful. And here's where my own work showed up, because I noticed something happening inside of me. Instead of simply listening to my dad share his experience, part of me immediately started wondering if I should be doing more. Should I call more? Should I visit more? Should I make sure he's busier? Should I be helping somehow? And that's when I caught it. His boredom wasn't the issue. My sense of responsibility was. This one thing hit me so hard because I realized how quickly I can allow someone else's discomfort to interrupt my own peace. Not because they asked me to, not because they expect me to, but because somewhere inside me is a belief that if someone I love is uncomfortable, I should do something about it. Maybe some of you can relate. Someone is struggling. Someone is lonely. Someone is disappointed. Someone is bored. And suddenly you're carrying something that wasn't yours to carry. What I've been learning is that love and responsibility are not always the same thing. I can love someone deeply without becoming responsible for their emotional experience. I can care without caring. I can support without rescuing. And I can tell you that's been a powerful lesson. Because if my peace depends on everyone else being okay, then peace will always be temporary. There will always be someone struggling. There will always be someone having a difficult day. There will always be something that needs attention. Peace can't require perfection. Now, if you've been listening to some of my episodes over time, you've met Trudy, my inner critic, aka Shadow, aka Inner Child. And let me tell you, Trudy did not like this lesson. Because Trudy generally believed it was her job to make sure everyone was okay. If silence entered the room and stayed too long, she assumed something had been missed. Something had been forgotten. Something needed fixing. Something needed protecting. And honestly, I understand why. She learned very early that being vigilant felt safer than being relaxed. That carrying responsibility felt safer than putting it down. That staying alert felt safer than trusting. So when life got quieter, she didn't experience peace. She experienced uncertainty. And uncertainty made her want to get busy. Maybe you've got a Trudy too. Maybe yours goes by another name. One of the things I've learned through my own healing and through years of working with clients is that these parts rarely show up because they're trying to sabotage us. Most of the time, they're trying to protect us. The problem is that they're often operating from old information. Information that made sense when we were younger. Information that helped us survive. Information that may no longer fit who we're becoming. That's why I don't spend my time helping people get rid of these parts. I help them understand them. Because when you understand what's underneath the pattern begins to loosen on its own. Not through force, through awareness. What I've come to realize is that peace isn't something we simply achieve. It's something we learn to trust. Because peace asks us to do something many of us were never taught to do. Receive. Rest. Pause. Enjoy. Allow. Peace asks us to believe that we don't have to earn every moment of ease. That we don't have to justify every moment of rest. That we don't have to solve every problem before we're allowed to exhale. And for people who have spent years in survival mode, that's not always easy. It's a practice, a learning process, a relationship, one that gets stronger over time. So today I want to leave you with a question. When silence gets loud, What starts talking? Is it guilt? Is it shame? Is it regret? Fear? Responsibility? Loneliness? Your inner critic? The part of you that believes you should always be doing more? Because maybe peace isn't making you uncomfortable. Maybe peace is simply revealing what still needs your attention. And maybe that's not a problem. Maybe that's an invitation. Because sometimes what sounds like anxiety is actually a need for rest. Sometimes what sounds like guilt is actually a need for boundaries. Sometimes what sounds like self-criticism is actually an old protector trying to keep you safe. The question isn't always, how do I make this feeling go away? Sometimes the better question is, what is this feeling trying to tell me? It's an invitation to listen, to understand, to heal, and eventually, to trust peace. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Getting Through the Week. Until next time, please take care of yourselves, be kind to yourselves, and remember, you don't have to fill every quiet moment just because it exists. Sometimes the most healing thing you can do is sit in the silence long enough to discover what's underneath it. Until next week, I send you so much love.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Getting Through the Week podcast with Dr. Kelly Ray. If you're looking to connect with her or schedule an appointment, here's how you can reach her. Follow her on Instagram at AskDrKellyRay. Check out her Facebook page at Dr. Kelly Ray B. Find her on TikTok at Dr. Kelly Ray. Visit her website at drkellyray.com. Or send her an email at drkellyray@gmail.com. Until next week, Dr. Kelly Ray sends you so much love.